Need to get your creative fix in, but don't have a lot of time? Can you create something that you like in under 30 minutes? I'm here to tell you, yes, you can. And I'm going to give you some tips and tricks that point you in the right direction so you can get your creative fix in under 30 minutes. Tip 1, work small. This is a tag that I have pre-cut, ready to go on my table. It measures 4 by 8. Take advantage of leftover paint and maybe, just maybe, do the first step at the end of one of your other sessions. So you have something ready to grab. So here I had some stencil butter on my table. I just added some water and I'm smooshing it on this ready to go tag. I had no idea where I was going to go with this or if I was going to finish it in that session, but I'm going to have some things ready to go. That has broken the page, and that just means I can jump right into the next step and get that creative fix or itch scratched and get done in under 30 minutes. So the next day, I grabbed out the tag, feeling creative, didn't have a lot of time, but just needed to get something done. So I'm not sure why I thought to put kind of this lime bright green. Grabbed my one folder, so I limited my choices. This is coffee filters that I have added color to using leftover paint, probably again. So use what's in your stash and limit your choices. I grabbed the one folder and then I picked the best option out of that and I decided quickly. Here I'm just ripping them up. I'm going to place them on here. And once I'm happy with that, I'm going to glue it down with my fluid matte medium. Key here is limit your choices and have things in your stash that are ready to go. When you're not feeling particularly creative, or even if you are, do some stash builders, cut some focal images, color some coffee filters, break some pages. Having those things readily on hand will cut your creative time, and they also have the advantage of pointing you in a direction. So you're not sitting there and going, what am I going to create? What colors am I going to create? Some of those decisions have already been made for you, and that just speeds along the creative process. So here I am just gluing down the coffee filters with my fluid matte medium. And if you've never colored coffee filters, now this is the cone one. I've also got the round one, the basket one. Both collage so nice. They take color well and they make extremely great collage papers. So there's my folder. I'm just going to take the rest of this. I'm going to file it away for another day. Now I'm cutting off the excess. This video, except for a very short period at the end of the video, I have kept real time because I created this in under 30 minutes. I grab a stencil and I'm using the same color. I'm sticking to a limited color palette, basically blue greens for the background. I'm not deviating too far from that. And by limiting my choices, colors, I'm also shortening the amount of time it takes. Now, I've also limited the stencils. I went and I flipped through my stencils and I picked 3 different stencils. You can see 2 of them here. These were the possibilities. I'm not going to pull out 10 of them. That's just going to take time. I flipped through them quickly, made a decision, kind of gave it a final thought, went with this one. I'm liking the effect of this, giving it a quick dry in between. Now, I have some of this Prussian blue paint on my makeup sponge, so I'm going to edge my tag at this stage. I'm taking advantage of the fact that the wet paint is already there, so I'm going to do it now. Even though this is part of finishing and I'm not ready to finish the tag, the advantage of doing this at this point in time is you're not taking out extra paint twice, and it also helps frame it and may help you make some decisions. Now, I like the smooshing that was there, and I wanted to do a little bit more smooshing, but I didn't want to add any color. I didn't know what color to add, quite honestly. But I did want to knock back some of that, the harsh lines. So I grabbed some white paint, I watered it down, and I am simply smooshing on it. It's not giving a big effect here, but it does kind of give it a cloud-like effect and give some variation to my background. And even though it didn't exactly do what I wanted, maybe, I'm not going to overthink it. I'm just going to keep moving forward. Another quick dry. I wanted to add some small scale detail. And I was going to grab my script stamp, but I grabbed this one from Stamperia. I believe it's Songs of the Sea. And this is one of my favorite, along with my script stamps, to add fine detail to a page or a tag. So one of the things that you can do is those favorite texture stamps that you love adding repeatedly, keep them in a bin right where you create. Make it easy for you to grab them and add them. Now I've got black on my paint on my makeup sponge because I was stamping with black acrylic paint on the stamp. And now that I've got black there, I decide that Prussian blue around the outside, I want black instead. So I just edged it again. And there is the background to my tag. Got lots of interest, lots of texture, visual, as well as physical, and I'm loving the colors. Then I grabbed this printable that I recently spent some time. I was flipping through pages and I was cutting out some of these elements and putting them in a file folder close at hand. I thought, okay, these are things that I have in my stash. I want to cut them out or semi cut them out and keep them at hand. So I use them up. So here I am just cutting it out and I'm thinking I might want to put it on this tag. So I've cut that out, kind of auditioning it, but I'm just going with my instinct. I'm thinking the black and white might look good on here. I'm just going to use half of that motif. But as soon as I put it on there, I decide, nope, that isn't going to work. So that goes back in my stash, but it's partially cut out. So guess what? The next time I'm creating, I am a little further ahead. I also had these, I think they're dandelion poofs in my stash. I'm auditioning them with a crazy bird here. All of these things, as well as those that you see on the right-hand side, are things that I had in my stash, partially cut out, ready to go. I had this butterfly, and I cut the top part of the wings off, and I thought, oh, that'd be cute to add it to this angry bird. I grab my Winged Wonders sentiment pack, and I print them off and I cut them apart and I keep them in these plastic envelopes. Again, I have it ready to go. I pick a couple, I'm auditioning them on my tag, making a decision, put everything away. Now, it doesn't quite fit here, so I'm going to just cut this apart to better fit what I'm creating. If you want to fly, give up everything that weighs you down. I love this quote, and today that's kind of what I needed to tell myself, to let go of things that are just too heavy to deal with right now. And that's why I'm in the studio, because creating is just good for my mental health, for my stress level. Sometimes let go and create. So I'm using my fluid matte medium and gluing it down. Another way I save time here is my paintbrush that I'm using with the fluid matte medium. I used it earlier for the coffee filter. I put it in a plastic bag, a little Ziploc bag, and semi-close it up so it doesn't dry up. So I don't have to dry it out. I don't have to clean it in between. It doesn't get all gunked up, and I can quickly use it. Now, as I'm doing this, I'm thinking, do I want to keep everything black and white? Or do I want to colorize my focal image here? Now, don't overthink that decision. There is no absolute right answer. What you do is the right thing. One time I may leave it, another time I may colorize it. I took a picture of it, then looked in my camera, and then I decided I do want to colorize it. But I did want to get out tubes of paint, so I grabbed my Inktense blocks. And just looking at, we've got blues and greens. So if I go with yellows, oranges, and reds, I figure that's going to really stand out. So I'm just grabbing water on my brush, rubbing it on my Inktense block, and using the Inktense block like you would watercolor. The difference is Inktense is ink, and it is permanent once it's dry. The Inktense block is also not going to be as opaque as my acrylic paints. So here I just decided I want to kind of make his chest area a little bit colored. I'm just dropping in color, tapping my finger, blending the colors down the ink while it's permanent once it's completely dry. You do have some opportunity to manipulate it, to move it by adding more or less water. And I'm drying in between. And then I decide I want to paint those butterfly wings. And again, I'm sticking that yellow, orange, red that I think is going to look good on the background. Now, here's the thing about the Inktense blocks. I love them. They are my second most used, most loved color medium next to the acrylic paints. They're translucent, which I love, but they're kind of chalky. And when you put the first layer on, you may have to build it up a couple times. Add more. Start with less and then build up the color. And that's what you're going to see in the next little while here, watching me build up the colors till I get the vibrancy that I want. And you can get them quite vibrant. And you're going to see every step along the way how I keep tweaking the colors easily. So if you prefer coloring with paint pens or markers, you do you. For me, using a brush and my Inktense blocks is one of the fastest ways to get color or to colorize a focal image. No fuss, no muss, easy to blend. And again, part of the reason this is going so quick is because it's a small focal image. It's a small substrate, 4x8 tag. One stamp, one stencil, one collage paper, two colors. Limit your choices, have things in your stash ready to go at different stages, and don't over analyze. Make decisions fast. Here I've just added even one more layer of color. I'm just making it a little bolder, a little brighter. And as I'm going, I'm thinking, yeah, I really like this. Because I was perplexed about whether I wanted to create this or leave it black and white or colorize it. But I'm really happy I colorized it because I like that pop of color. So that orange wasn't bright enough. So again, so step by step by step, instead of thinking, do I want it dark? Do I want it? Try it. Go. Do it. Worst case scenario, you wipe it off with a baby wipe and start from scratch. An object in motion stays in motion. So keep moving forward. So here I wanted a little bit more red down there, a little more color to match everything else. Then the whites of the eyes, I got some paint on that, so I decided grab some gesso and I'm painting, putting the white back in, and then I'm going to grab my stylus and dot the black part of the eyes. It's also adding a little bit of dimension there, which I love. Now I'm just grabbing my angle brush, some black acrylic paint, and I'm shading a little bit around my focal image. I love those stamps. They have a lot of details on them, and I'm just following what's already there. I'm not recreating the wheel. I'm not thinking too hard. My goal is to get my creative fix in today on a day when I only have 30 minutes to get it done. I'm shading around the wings a little bit here. I want to make those black lines a little darker, and I thought I could just kind of shade them and touch them up. And it's kind of sort of doing what I wanted to do here, but not quite. So I grabbed my fine line applicator bottle. This is black paint that's thinned down. And I am flooding the bold black line on the wings. I kind of put both sides and I just flood it inside. Now this is the part of the video where I have sped this part up because it does take a long time and your time is valuable. You don't need to watch me doing the same thing. But if you've never used a fine line applicator, I highly recommend it. I love mine. They come in so handy for adding detail, for putting lines, for filling in on focal images. I use them a lot. This also adds dimension to the black, which wasn't there before. Then I decide I'm going to do some sketchy lines around the sentiment. And here's my trick. I'm not trying to make it perfectly straight or a perfect line because that's not possible. So I'm going for sketchy. I'm going for imperfect. And that is attainable. Then I decide to be a little bit brave and I'm adding some of the sketchy lines around the crazy bird here, putting in some of the hash marks that are on the actual stamped image originally. I'm not trying to match it perfectly. Close is good enough. Now, could you do this with a gel pen? Absolutely. And again, if that works best for you and that's what you have, that's what you use. I never want, while I may recommend products and say this is a great one and I get a lot of use out of this, I never want you to feel that you have to go out and buy exactly what I have in order to create or to follow my tutorials. It's more about the process than about the products. And there is the finished tag. It took, I believe, video 27 minutes in total. Here are some close-ups of the finished tag. I love the background. I love the choices that I've made. And I love that I got something created on a day when I didn't have a whole lot of time to do it. I hope you take the challenge and make it possible for you to create in 30 minutes or less. Yes, you can.